Am I allowed to answer that?
Yeah.
And is it blessed sand? Well, behind my back is one thing. Yeah, I ate the bugs.
What is your favorite part of our parish?
Hi, everybody. I am Father Tim Nadolski. Welcome back to another episode of 10 Questions with Father Tim.
This is our last regular episode.
Penultimate episode.
Penultimate episode with Father Tim. Next week we will have... You ready? Drum roll.
I don't do drums. I do the saxophone.
Next week we'll have Father Michael.
Who?
Father Michael Freeback as our special guest for our season finale.
Okay.
It'll be a lot of fun.
It will be a blast.
Due to copyright infringement, we can't say what this episode's modeled after, but it'll be fun.
Although they might be flattered. We even bought their kit of sauces to use. Hot sauces.
So there will be food involved. There'll be Father Michael involved.
Spicy questions.
That'll be great. It's going to be the spicy edition.
If you know the show that we're talking about, chicken wings.
Tune in. Podcast update.
Okay, Nicole has talked me into lowering my standards for the equipment that we're going to use for the podcast.
You're welcome.
Because it turns out I'm not Matt Frad, and I'm not going to have this huge, awesome podcast.
Yeah, we don't need it.
And I'm just going to have to suffer that we don't have name brand stuff.
We'll be fine. We've lowered our goal from $3,500 to $1,000.
Yeah, $1,000. And we're a little over $100 collected, so if you want that podcast, click on the link, donate, memo line for the podcast.
Let's get started. A lot of food-related questions today.
Oh, you don't say. I'm so surprised.
All right, Father, let's jump into it.
Okay.
What is the superior food cuisine? What is your favorite?
Like my favorite genre.
Genre of food. Sure, yeah.
Genre. It's a French word. You have to pronounce it correctly. Italian, without a doubt, but not like what you get at the restaurant here. No Olive Garden. No. Whatever.
Carrabba's?
No Carrabba's. No chain. No chain. If you want authentic Italian food, you go to an Italian restaurant that is independently owned by an Italian, or you go to an Italian's house, or you have friends that are Italian. You can say, "Can you please bring me a lasagna?" Nona's got to make the food.
What is your favorite Bible story?
My favorite Bible story, I think, go back to the beginning, Abraham, when God puts him to the test.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It just shows this beautiful trust of Abraham being called by God out of Ur in the Chaldees, wherever that is. God calls him out, and he says, "You're going to be the father of many great nations." And Abraham kind of laughs because he's old and his wife's old and they're infertile. And then God says, "I'm going to give you a child." And along comes Isaac. There's the other kid too, but let's not talk about him right now. The redheaded stepchild. Anyway, but God calls Abraham to offer the sacrifice. He goes up the mountain with his son, who's this gift from God. And right as soon as Abraham's about to offer the sacrifice, which is his son Isaac, the angel appears and says, "Stop," and provides the ram for the acceptable oblation. And it just shows a really beautiful sense of trust, sacrifice, and obviously there's the foreshadowing of our Savior Jesus Christ in his own death as the Son of the Father. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good Bible stories in there, but that one popped to mind first.
Father, I noticed on Good Friday that there was no holy water in the church. Why is that?
There was no holy water in the church on Good Friday because on Holy Thursday, the Gloria is sung one last time, and the bells are rung while the Gloria is being sung, and then the bells are no longer ringed. And then on Good Friday, of course, the holy water is removed from the stoops as the church is stripped, right? The whole altar is stripped bare. Holy water is removed because Jesus isn't with us. He's being held in captivity and ready to enter into his passion and death. And so the holy water is not there. The bells are not rung. The church is undecorated. In place of the bells, we have the crotalus or crolatus. I'm not the best.
The wooden clacker.
Yeah, the clacker thing. It means like rattlesnake in Latin. There's no water. And then at the Easter Vigil, we put holy water back into the font from the blessed baptismal font. Some churches in the 80s and 90s thought it was a good idea to remove the holy water for all of Lent, which it doesn't say to do that anywhere. They would put sand in the holy water font.
Sand?
Yeah, like, are you supposed to bless yourself with the...
Oh.
And is it blessed sand? Can you build a sandcastle out of it, sand? And I think it was probably a well-intentioned thing to say, oh, we're in the desert, but holy water is a sacramental, and it's a powerful sacramental, and we believe that it helps us, it wards off evil, because we live in a world that is infested with evil, and so the church gives us this sacramental to help us as we strive to live lives of holiness.
What's your favorite type of cookie?
Sourdough chocolate chip. And I will never, ever suggest that there's another kind of cookie that I like better. If we're talking store-bought, Oreos, double stuff, I like to open them up. When I was a kid, my mom would buy the thing, and I'd find them in the pantry and get them. I would open them up, and I would eat all the icing out, and then I'd put them back together, and then I'd put them back in the container for my siblings to find.
That's
and
so cool.
I always got beat up for it. So,
as you should.
I know, spoiled last child.
Father, what is your favorite Bible translation?
Favorite Bible translation is the Douay-Rheims. It's like the Catholic version of the King James Bible. I think we translated it to English before King James. It's beautiful. It reads, in a very poetic way. It's got the old numbering that we used to use. The funny thing is, though, that as Catholics, we didn't actually number chapter and verse. That was a Protestant thing that they did. You can see it, even in St. Paul, when he's referring back to something, he's like, yeah, somewhere in one of the other letters that I wrote, it says this. So I think that's why Catholics aren't good at being able to cite chapter and verse a lot of times. Instead of Psalm 23, it's Psalm 22. But it's the same.
The Douay-Rheims.
Yeah, the Douay-Rheims.
Is it Douay-Rheims?
Douay-Rheims. Yeah, Douay-Rheims.
Okay, great.
In fact, I've got my ancestral ginormous Douay-Rheims Bible over here in the office. My mother had it restored from really tatters. It was on the table in our living room, and a lamp was sitting on top of it, and the whole front cover was ripped off. At my ordination, she sent it off to some Polish guy in Chicago, and she refuses to tell me how much money it cost, but he totally restored the binding and everything. So I have it here in my office, and Father Michael built me a nice little display thing for it.
That's nice of him. Father, when are you too late arriving at Mass to receive communion?
So I think a better question to ask is, when is it too late that I'm not fulfilling my Sunday obligation? Because you can arrive at Mass and have already been at Mass, and I don't know, no, there's not really a reason why you would receive a second time if you just happen to come in late to the Mass. You can receive communion twice in one day, but it's kind of an exception. You shouldn't necessarily regularly do it. So yeah, when is it too late that the Mass doesn't count for your Sunday obligation? Should you even be presenting yourself for Holy Communion if regularly you've been coming to Mass late and not fulfilling your Sunday obligation? There's no definitive answers. A lot of priests will say, if you arrive before the gospel is proclaimed, then it counts. I don't know. I'm a little bit more scrupulous. I might, for myself. I'm not imposing that on anyone else. If I didn't get in by the time that the Gloria was over, I would probably be like, "Oop, I missed Mass. I have to come back." That's probably a little over scrupulous. But I would say certainly if you arrive after the gospel begins to be proclaimed, you're too late.
What piece of advice would you give Arturo? Deacon
Arturo. Soon to be Father Arturo.
Very soon.
What advice would I give? I gave him a lot of advice when he lived here with me for a year. He learned how to be a perfect priest.
What was your number one piece?
Arturo, mijo, escucha. Love your people, okay? No matter what, love your people and make sure that they know that you love them. Don't be weird about it. Tell them, I love you.
He would, though. He's so sweet.
I mean, there's certain times, where you do say that to someone, hey, look, I really do love you. I really care about you. But yes, soon to be young Father Merriman. Most important piece of advice that I can give you is love your people, no matter what. And remember that love isn't a feeling or an emotion. And I say the same thing to couples before they get married, right? Because you're marrying the church, And so you have to love the church even when it's difficult. Love your people, even when maybe they don't love you. Love your people when they're complaining about you. Love your people when they gossip about you. Love them at all times. Be like Jesus, right? Lay down your life for the sake of your bride.
Nice. That's good advice. What is a stereotype you think is true?
Am I allowed to answer that?
Yeah.
So here we go. So today's Friday, of course, and on Wednesday I had the Mass because Father Michael and I traded Wednesday and Thursday, and I came down for benediction 5 minutes to 9, and our wonderful volunteer of the year was waiting. He said, I figured it would be you. And I said, why is that? He said, well, because if it were Father Michael, he would have been here on time. And I said, I am on time. But he meant Father Michael comes earlier. And so he said, yeah, I figured it was you. I said, well, that's a stereotype. And he said, yeah, I guess it is. So here's the thing. Stereotypes are generally rooted in like anecdotal evidence or experience. Or if the priest hasn't arrived like 15 minutes before Mass is starting, with the exception of Saturday night and Sunday evening. But like the morning Mass, then
Father Tim is saying the Mass.
Yeah, then it's very fine to say, oh, well, based on anecdotal evidence, Father Tim rolls in here on 2 wheels for Mass. I actually don't drive down to the church like I used to because we got those stairs, and I walk. It's great.
Yeah. So stereotype is Father Tim is not a morning person and is late.
Yeah.
If anything's in the morning.
And it's true. So I find that stereotype true.
What is your most memorable meal while traveling and why?
I've eaten some weird things. In Honduras, I ate ants.
Ew.
Yeah, I ate bugs. Like all the scary.
You ate bugs?
Yeah, they tasted like lemon.
That really doesn't.
They were just little teeny tiny ants. They weren't like those big ants. Gross.
This doesn't track with who you are as a person.
Yeah, the guy stuck a knife in a tree and pulled it out. And here you go. Iguana, right?
You're
in Honduras. Iguana's like chicken in Honduras. Yeah, our cook would pull him off she would hear him sunning up on the roof and she'd just pull him down and ha!
So it's the ants you ate in Honduras?
No, I'm just thinking of the weird things that I've eaten because I'm such a picky eater. But my most memorable meal, although I guess memorable could be
yeah.
Like in Italy when they tried to feed us cow stomach. My parents and I are going to go to Scotland for a few nights before we go to Ireland. And one of the proposed things we did was a food tour. And the last thing in the world I'm going to do is a food tour in Scotland because, it's going to be
sheep parts. Yeah,
it's going to be sheep guts that I don't want to eat that. Escargot, I'm a fan of, believe it or not.
That does not.
I don't like shrimp.
That doesn't track with who you are.
I don't like most shellfish. Chef Henry cooked me a scallop one time that was out of this world. I wasn't sure if I'd like it. But it was fantastic. So thank you, Chef Henry, for that.
But the snails.
The snails, yeah, I'll eat the snail. I'll eat the bugs and I'll eat the snails. The snails I started eating when I would go on a ocean cruise. My friend told me, order the snails, escargot. They're basically just these little gumdrops of butter and garlic, and that's exactly what they were. In France, however, when I ordered the escargot, it came out still in the shell.
Ew. With
these weird tongs that you had to hold the shell in, and this scary tined fork that you stuck in, and they were good. But my most memorable meal is if you're in Italy,
the snails.
If you're in Rome, go to the Abruzzi, order the carbonara. You'll thank me.
All right, last question. You ready?
Really? We're already the last question?
Yeah.
Wow, we really flew through this today.
Okay, Father Tim, what is your favorite part of our parish?
There's a lot of favorite parts of the parish, but similar to my advice to the young Father Merriman, to love the people. I think my favorite part of the parish are the people, the families here that make up the parish. Yeah, like you and your little family. You're all so cute when you come into Mass late, but that's all right. No,
we're not late.
I know, and you sit. I know it's good, and you sit up front, and I encourage young families to do that all the time. Sit up front so your kids can see what's going on, and I promise they're not distracting to me or to Father Michael. When they say, "Well, what's that?" and then we can say, "Well, that's the ciborium," or that's anyway. Yeah, the people are my favorite part of this parish because, as I said, a priest is married to the church, and so St. Clare is my bride. Um, so it would be weird if I loved the building, right? Rather, it's you, the people, that you give me the most joy and fulfillment. I love seeing God at work in your lives. I love seeing transformation. I love seeing deepening conversion. I love people wrestling with hard questions and truths and just seeking to do the will of God. And that's what I'm here to help you to do. So you got to know a little bit more about me through these questions, but know that ultimately I'm here to pour into you. And that's what the staff around us help to do. Like Nicole, who's been doing a fantastic job of producing these. She's the cameraman or camera woman. She's the producer. She's the director. She's the editor. She's the everything. She's the light technician. I shouldn't have just looked into the light.
Thank you, Father Tim.
But no, thank you, Nicole, because everything that you've done for this parish, people tell me they love the presence on the socials and on the. Is that what the kids are saying these days? The socials.
Yeah, the socials.
Or do they say the instas?
No, the socials.
Fantastic job of just kind of getting St. Clare out there. If you're watching this video and you're looking for the parish and you're in the area, drop by and give us a try. I love people. Yeah.
That's sweet. That's really nice of you. You sure it's not Father Michael?
Oh, actually, you know what? Yeah, Father Michael. No, I don't think so.
He is a person.
He's a people. He's a people. He's part of the people I gotta love. Next week, as we said, tune in for some spicy questions with some food that we might be.
Tune in next week for.
It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be spicy.
I think the best part will just be watching you try to answer.
The questions are all handpicked.
Yeah.
Father Michael, you'll see when he eats hot stuff, he sweats. And it doesn't have to be very hot.
But we'll have a lot of fun. I've been saving the best questions for this episode. So you don't need to leave a question in the comments this time. But if you want maybe a season 2, you could do that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And we're gonna film it up at the rectory rather than in the office because.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you. I hope to see you next week.
We'll see you Sunday at Mass then.
I will see you Sunday at Mass. I have 12:30 Espanol and the 5 p.m. It's Trinity Sunday, so it's like...
It's a big deal.
What do you say?
But yeah, we'll see you then.
Yeah, see ya.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Adios.
Bye.
Adios a todos.
Boom, 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 boom. Please don't be mad at me right now.
I honestly, I know you're mad.
I'm mad.
I know it's frustrating when we do things like this. I've done it.
I can't remember if this is the one with a lot of crispy